Jacksonville Jaguars and the Philadelphia Eagles. Guys, this one's very interesting from a standpoint that this is two teams that everybody wants to bet on, but they got to play each other this week, so you can't bet on both sides. 6.5 is your total, is your line in this one in favor of the Eagles. Your total 45.5. Look, if you watch any of the preseason stuff, you know I'm super, super, super bullish on the Eagles. They have shown me everything that I've needed to see with this team. They're number one in my power ratings as we sit right now. I think the most complete team in the NFL. But you're telling me they got to beat this Jags team by a touchdown. And Steven, I just can't quite get there. I know you can, but this defense for the Jags has been just spicy enough for me to not want to poke them with this Eagles team. So I think I'm just going to sit back, have a cold beer and watch this one and feel pretty good about seeing probably what are two of the more interesting teams in football right now going at it.
I like the Jags. I think they're going to win the division. They are above average in my power rankings as well, but I think we have to at least question the context of their past two wins, especially now playing who is one of the top three at worst across our entire staff, and at best, as you said, the number one team in the league this week, who have no question marks about the past 3 weeks that they've played and how fantastic they have looked. So the context for the Jags the past 2 weeks, obviously a ton of major injuries for the Colts. They blow them out. Great. Last week against the Chargers, major injuries at every key position you can think of for the Chargers. Credit the Jags. They took care of business and blew them out. That's fine. If we're going to look at this spread numerically, though, Jacksonville on the look ahead before all of those Chargers injuries, we're going to be more than a touchdown favorite. More than a touchdown underdog against a completely healthy Chargers team. And I should even preface that a little bit. They were actually down Keenan Allen and JC Jackson when that look ahead came out. So more than a touchdown underdog with a couple of key injuries still for the Chargers. Now they're less than a touchdown underdog against the team that looks even more powerful, even stronger than the Chargers did before they had all of those injuries. So I am going to bet on the Eagles to cover 6.5 here because that's how high I am on them. And I at least still have some question marks about how legitimate of a team the Jaguars are and whether or not they should be in that top 10 tier as this spread would imply.
So, Adam, here's the thing. And listen, the defense for Philadelphia has been absolutely fantastic. And I don't think anyone's going to question that. Darius Slay probably at this point in his career is maybe the best shadow corner there is in the NFL and all that. That being said, Darius Slay does not travel to the slot. He has run one coverage all season long from the slot, right? Literally has only covered one snap from the slot all season long. Christian Kirk runs 77.4% of his routes out of the slot and has over the course of his career. So what we are looking at here is the best receiver for the Jags and the one that they've actually found a really good rapport, him and Trevor Lawrence, running against what is likely to be Avonte Maddox. And he's fine. He's certainly nothing that you're going to avoid or you're throw away from or whatever. Darius Slay, you just don't throw in his direction, right? I mean, he's that good right now. So I'm not as convinced that the Eagles are going to be able to just lock down this Jags offense as a lot of people are, because everyone's going, oh, they'll just put Slay on Kirk and blah, blah, blah. And no, you got to look in a little bit deeper. That's not where Christian Kirk runs his routes out of, and that's not where Darius Slay goes and covers. And so I don't think that this is as cut and dry of the Jags aren't going to be able to move the ball.
So I think you guys have covered the sides very well here. I make the game Philly 7. I think the number is right where it should be. What I want to talk about is the total, because I don't understand the movement on this, and I'm going to need some help, Matt, from you in particular to understand here. For a game that
because I suck at totals.
There you go. For a game that opened 48 to be down at 45.5 with two of the most efficient offenses in football, two of the top 8 by DVOA. Jalen Hurts, by just about every Pro Football Focus metric, has been one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in the NFL thus far. We've seen the Jaguars prove to be fairly explosive on offense. I don't get the total movement here. The market is moving in a direction that I don't understand. And again, we talked at the top of the show about how everything overall is going under in a way that it hasn't in the past. Is it more respect for these defenses? Is it in some way a fading of who the opponents have been for the Jaguars? How do you see that having moved? Because the only way I'm leaning here is over.
My guess was that some of it at the beginning of the move was this AJ Brown stuff, because he missed 2 practices in a row earlier in the week they were listed as personal reasons and listed as, excused or whatever. But again, AJ Brown missing 2 practices for the Eagles this week. I think maybe people looking a little bit further and seeing that, oh my gosh, this Jags defense is actually legitimate. And I believe they're legitimate. I've watched this team maybe closer than any other team so far this season, just because I did want to see. I feel like this team's talented. Like, I feel like this team's got the pieces there to be pretty decent. And so I've been trying to figure out if maybe my opinion on them was just a little bit too high. And so I actually think this defense is pretty good. And I actually think this defense is enough to cause a little bit of disruption, a little bit of havoc here for Jalen Hurts. Now, that being said, the problem is he just has so many different weapons. I mean, like, if they can't run the ball, which, by the way, Jacksonville's run defense has been one of the very best in the NFL, 1st overall DVOA, 2nd overall according to Pro Football Focus. So, I mean, it's not a joke here. Everybody sees what's going on with this run defense, but through the air, he's got AJ Brown. He's got Devonta Smith. He's got Dallas Goedert. There's just so many other weapons here that kind of keeps me nervous. I will say this: if this gets to a full touchdown, which this line's not moved all week, by the way, this is like the most evenly bet game in the history of the NFL so far. Like, it's crazy. Like, you rarely ever see something open and then just stay completely stone, especially when there's 2 teams that everybody loves to bet. But if this does get to a full 7 for any reason, I'm going to have to take the full touchdown with the Jags. I just am. I think there's enough pieces there to keep this thing within 1 score. And so that's kind of where I sit. But from a total standpoint, Adam, I think we probably just got the correction to where it needed to be, because the respect for these defenses, I think, probably wasn't in play with that original line that was put out there.
Fair enough. I absolutely can hear that and can see that. It's just that I look at the efficiency of both offenses and think that maybe 45.5 is on the low side for what this game could be. So again, not playing aside, just wanted to get your take on the total. And I think that's,
it would certainly be an overpass for me.
Yeah.
It would certainly be.
And as for AJ Brown, by the way, that was the birth of a child that they were expecting their second kid. Philly beat reporters as of this morning saying no problem, AJ Brown will play.
Yeah. I think that, we're probably in this age of people just getting like push notifications, and it's like AJ Brown misses practice. Under, and it's like, don't even go in and look and see what's going on with all that. But I love both of these teams. It's going to be a super, super fun watch. The game I'm looking the most forward to this week is that one, and that is over the Bills and Ravens. I can say that.
Matt, just one last point here. The trenches, I think, is the biggest reason why I went and bet the Eagles. I do think there is a mismatch in the trenches here. Despite the Jacksonville defensive metrics, they're only 27th in pressure rate, and now they're playing one of, if not the best offensive lines. And Jacksonville's offensive line, 31st and 28th in pass block and run block win rate. The Eagles top 6 in pass rush win rate, 7th in pressure rate, despite being middle of the pack in blitz rate. So they're getting pressure without blitzing as well. So I think that's the biggest key that I'm looking at here in the trenches here. I think the Eagles are going to have time for Jalen Hurts to do what he wants, and I question Trevor Lawrence being able to do the same.
And guys, a bit of breaking news here. Amon-Ra St. Brown officially out for Sunday for the Lions.
Okay.
And there we have it. That is going to be that is going to be on the run. And I wonder if now I want to play the under in that game.